welcome back to Going It Alone, A Year of Play. This is episode 4, I can't believe it's been 4 months, and this is Yikes, that was my last paycheck. So here's a reminder as to why I am doing these videos. The Institute of Directors said that 56% of startups use self-funding as their only source. And although I didn't need to invest much in my business, just for things like ongoing cost of website, a laptop, some more Lego bricks of course, I was fortunate to have enough savings to ensure the day-to-day bills could still be paid for a decent period of time. And due to how the payroll ran in my previous work, the timing meant I had approximately 2 months before needing to eat into those savings. So I deliberately made the decision to leave a regular income. I deliberately saved money to pay for the time whilst establishing my business and knowing that I wasn't going to receive any income. And I deliberately created a cash forecasting where I knew I wouldn't receive anything until at least July. And all these conscious decisions, yet there has not been 1 week since I started this adventure 4 months ago where I haven't sort of thought about where the money's coming from and what about the finances. It's probably because my 3 core drivers when it comes to work. One is to make a difference, the other is to add value and be valued, but the third one, and this is the key one here, is financial security. And that's not about being rich, but that's having the freedom to do the things and paying for the things that I think I need and want. So I know it's ridiculous, and I keep telling myself it day in, day out. I am worrying about something that I knew would happen and I planned for. The contingencies are in place, but it still doesn't stop the Monday morning feeling of where is that cash going to come from? And this isn't about being greedy, it's about being practical. I run a business, and so to survive and grow, I need to make profitable sales. And in episode 1, I referred to a book called The Entrepreneurial Rollercoaster by Darren Hardy. Well, I am definitely on the ride, and knowing that it helps me deal with the ups, it helps me deal with the downs that I do feel on a regular basis. And don't get me wrong, I am super happy. In fact, I've never been happier, and I do really appreciate the freedom and the opportunities that I now have, and I'm also meeting some amazing people. But as per the previous videos, I do have some advice. So here's advice number 1. As suggested in my previous episodes, episode 1 and 3, revisit the entrepreneurial rollercoaster to know what you're getting yourself in for, and also do good budget sales and forecasting prior to taking the leap. Regularly review these, and like me, it may not stop the thoughts about money, but also like me, it may help you own and control them. So another consideration I had was job seekers allowance. You know, the paycheck. Where's the money going to come from? If I'm not receiving any income, am I entitled? So I generally looked into this, and as a self-employed person, even with a limited company, provided you meet the requirements of what's called the claimant commitment, I could have received, I think it was approximately £330 a month. And part of me felt like I was being a bit fraudulent. So although I've paid into the system for over 20 years, because I made the decision to go it alone, why should others pay for me to have that luxury? But it was on one of those Monday mornings where I was thinking about how the electricity and gas bill had doubled that I started to do the research. And this is the joy of the roller coaster when you're self-employed, because arguably I was in that dip, but by the end of that week I had 3 potential opportunities, and suddenly I'm on top of the world. So I subsequently kicked the job seekers idea into touch. And although I specifically focus my business efforts on Lego Serious Play, I am listed as providing business and HR consultancy services. And the freedom of being self-employed is great, and being able to do things on my own terms. But part of my first year, and maybe my second, I thought long and hard about doing interim HR work, ideally at Chief People Officer, HR Director and Head of levels. I know I'm skilled in this, I can still add lots of value, and I'm well qualified being a fellow of the CIPD, the professional body for HR. And for me, I was fortunate, and I managed to secure some HR consultancy work early on before my last paycheck was coming to an end. So I'm lucky in that regard. So advice number 2, therefore, is use all your skills to help generate income, particularly if your product or service is quite niche and will require that bit more socialization to generate interest and ultimately revenue. Be clear though on how much time you will invest, because you don't want to end up working on things that you don't necessarily enjoy as much. It sort of will probably defeat the object of why you went self-employed in the first place. And I've been self-employed for 4 months now. Time has absolutely flown and I've never looked back. And I recognise that my working life is going to be full of twists, turns, peaks, troughs. Mainly using LinkedIn, I post regular content, but even scrolling through Facebook, I find social media continues to make me feel a bit inadequate as far as my business is concerned. Either I'm not doing enough, or how is that person business generating so much interest? I want to be that busy. And sometimes a bit of an arrogant streak where I think I could do much better than that. And I suppose all these thoughts are normal. Scanning the horizon is good to keep me focused. But in that moment of negative thoughts surrounding social media, coupled maybe with the odd situation where I'm being ghosted following an inquiry, it could easily derail any person. And I'm definitely not immune. But this is a long game, and I'm now trying to reframe the decision that I've made to go it alone. I'm reframing it as a lifestyle choice, and for me, that choice, I need to accept what comes with it. And in my short experience to date, opportunities come and go, often when you least expect it, and you've got to learn to get used to that. I've also found that a potential customer that I initially thought had completely disappeared can suddenly reappear and convert into a client just like that. And if I continue to invest the emotional energy worrying about the one that got away and what have you, then I'm not investing in the future of the business and in my future. So I work hard at celebrating how far I've come. It's not in my nature. It's something that I continuously try and push myself and what's next and what more can I do, rather than stopping and reflecting around what I've achieved. But you know what? I'm going to do that now with you, because 4 months in, I've already surpassed my 6-month targets, and I'm really delighted by that. So much so that I did treat myself to a new Lego set. But if I was in the corporate world, I may be on track for a bonus, or I might be on track for a promotion, and it's unlikely I'm going to need to eat into my savings anytime soon. So celebrate those moments and pat yourself on the back, because sometimes being self-employed can be a bit lonely if you haven't got cheerleaders from elsewhere. Finally, advice number 3 then. Have clear personal goals and make sure they are visible. Someone once told me they stick their goals in the toilet, because every day they've got to look at them and reflect on them, and they'll have time to reflect on them when they're in the toilet too. So keep an ongoing log of what you've achieved, and regularly review and celebrate that, even the seemingly small things. And it will certainly help when you want to tell the world about how your business has performed over the last year. And as I mentioned earlier, if you don't pat yourself on the back, then who will? This self-employed business can be a lonely place, and so it's important to recognise and celebrate those milestones. So the idea of the last paycheck certainly focused my mind on what I needed to do to get out there and help people realise me and the service that I offer exists. So having the tools, the website, the business cards, the LinkedIn account, it's all well and good, but you have to use them effectively. So in the next episode, we're going to explore that a bit more. Join me then for Yikes, how do I get people to know I exist? Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, be sure to hit the subscribe button.